Hey, Kevin Ware, your action business coach. And I wanted to deal with something that I've been dealing with now for almost 27 years, and that is non-competes. There's an article out, you can see the Federal Trade Commission has ruled banning non-competes. Now, one of the things that in reading this article, and I'll go through some of the elements of this to clarify things. If you currently have a non-compete, you're going to have to find some way to get around that or eliminate it unless you have a senior executive, and I'll go through some of the details of this. But you have to understand, non-competes have been legally very flimsy ever since I've gotten into the coaching career. I started in 1997 as a career coach. And one of the things that I would deal with clients is they would come in and says, well, Kevin, I have a non-compete. And my response was typically non-competes are rather difficult to enforce, basically based on the concept of restraint of trade. You can basically take it to court, said this non-compete is a restraint of trade on my own basically abilities to make a living, and therefore I would like to see that thrown out. And most of the times it was easy to throw out. The reason that companies would do the non-competes is frankly to keep people in place and not go through the pain in the rear end of challenging a non-compete. So this doesn't mean I am or am not a fan of non-competes. I understand that companies have felt that they had to do non-competes because of the amount of resources that they are employing with an employee that would basically have an extreme value to that employee should they leave. And so what's happened is companies, small or large, have had employees sign non-compete agreements, probably knowing or maybe even not knowing that the enforceability of a non-compete has been flimsy at best over the years. And now the FTC has now formalized what I guess many of us in the career coaching and business coaching industry have known for years, that they frankly aren't enforceable. So let's go through this here. And one of the things you have to understand is that you've got basically, they go through the whole idea here. Some of the stats they put in this paragraph here, I don't know where they're getting those numbers from. And a lot of it's probably just pure estimates because there will be challenges. We're on the other side of things. You're going to have companies that are going to lose key employees, and a lot of basically intellectual property will basically go up in smoke. But that's kind of the restraint of trade argument that you can't be stopping employees from moving on. And so one of the things we have to take a look at here is that what are the alternatives to non-competes? Because there's going to be a lot of businesses are going to go, wait a minute, I depend on that non-compete to gain value out of that particular employee. So what it says here is that the commission found that employers have several alternatives to non-competes that still enable the firms to protect their investment without having to enforce a non-compete. Trade secret laws and non-disclosure agreements, i.e. NDAs, both provide employers with well-established means to protect proprietary and other sensitive information. Researchers estimate that over 95% of workers with a non-compete already have an NDA. So the commission also finds that instead of using non-competes to lock in workers, employers that wish to retain employees can compete on the merits for the workers' labor services by improving wages and working conditions. True, and there are still going to be, no matter how well you treat employees, you're going to have employees that will decide to go out on their own and maybe technically compete with you. So what does that mean? So this means that you're probably going to have to end your non-competes. Now, the one thing that they made a note here is that under the final rule, Existing non-competes for senior executives can remain enforced. Now, employers, however, are prohibited from entering into or enforcing new non-competes with senior executives. The final rule defines senior executives as workers earning more than $151,164 annually and who are in a policy-making position. Now, here's what I can see might be happening is that a company may take a look at an individual who is making under that amount of salary, and if they desperately want to keep that, they'll raise the salary of that individual up to that $151,000 and then work at retaining the non-compete. Now, probably most small business owners aren't going to be able to do that, but there will be some medium or large cap companies who very well may decide to do that. So additionally, the Commission has eliminated a provision in the proposed rule that would have required employers to legally modify existing non-competes by formally rescinding them. That change will help to streamline compliance. So that's something you can't do. So again, the final rule will become effective 120 days after publication in the Federal Register. So I am assuming that it's probably going to go in probably around the 1st of May. And that would mean basically September timeframe is when we're looking at this all going live. So if you do have currently a non-compete, you're going to need to find a way to eliminate the non-compete, have them sign an NDA on proprietary information, and then figure out, okay, what can I do to keep this employee happy, keep this employee productive, and not just go exit stage left, knowing that, let's face it, there's a possibility that may happen. I know I've got medical clinics right now that do have non-competes, and they're going to have to look at that non-compete and going and asking, does this affect me? And if so, how do I deal with that? So, but we've known for years that non-competes can be challenged and most of the time successfully challenged. So if you have any questions on non-competes and how to then put together an employment structure or a cultural process that's going to want people to stay with you rather than bolt, talk to me. I can help you out with that. But I thought I'd bring this to your attention that it's time for you to get out of any non-competes that you do have right now. Look forward to hearing from you. Take care.